So it's 3 a.m. here. I woke up at like 1 a.m. this morning because I can't get any sleep. But I figured, rather than just rolling around in my bed for, 3 or 4 hours, I might as well just do some work. So I'm going to do a few things, maybe go back to sleep, and then I'll be good to go. But anyway, I'm talking to you about magnetic strings today. And guitar strings are slightly magnetic. The reason for that is that they have to be kind of partially magnetized because when they vibrate within the magnetic field created by the pickup, that's kind of what creates the electrical current, which is then transmitted through the pickups and then, into the loudspeaker or what we call the amplifier. Interestingly, you have certain magnetic materials. It's called ferromagnetism. And certain materials are more ferromagnetic than others. Nickel, in this case, is the one that I'm referring to. And it's more ferromagnetic than other heavy metals. And not only that, but it's ferromagnetic at room temperature, from what I understand, is one of the reasons why guitar manufacturers or guitar string manufacturers use it in the first place. So yeah, the answer to the question is yes. Guitar strings are slightly magnetic. However, they're not super magnetic. They're not, like if you can't, like, I don't even know if you could hold a magnet up against it. Like, it wouldn't stick to it, and then, like, it would probably fall off. But you can feel the tension when you put the magnet up to it. So you can see it. You can feel that it's partially magnetized. But yeah, there's a lot of things to talk about here. I'm not really a scientist, so I'm not going to dive into it too much. But, there's a lot of scientific principles at play that have to do with electromagnetism and, Faraday's law and all these other scientific principles. There's also something to learn about piezoelectricity as well, which I touch on in this article. And, piezoelectricity, it's kind of like making up for the fact that nylon string guitars and acoustic guitar strings don't have pickups. And, not only that, but, a nylon string, it's not using ferromagnetic strings. It's not using nickel-plated strings. So there has to be an alternative scientific principle or a scientific method for amplifying the sound, and they do that via piezo. It's funny, in the article I announced the proper pronunciation of piezoelectricity, but now in real life when I'm talking, or I get, real life isn't a good word, but when I talk about it out loud, I still mispronounce it all the time because I'm so used to saying piezo. It just looks like piezo. It's like Piezo. It looks like it should be piezo, but it's piezoelectricity. I think it's worth talking about why guitar strings need to be partially magnetic, and that has to do with the pickup. As you may know, the pickup is essentially a magnetic coil. It's a magnet with coil wires wrapped all around it, like hundreds of thousands of coil wires wrapped around it. And it creates kind of a magnetic field, and that just means it's magnetized. So I don't know if you've ever tried this, but if you take a magnet and press it up against the pickups, it will stick to it because the pickups are magnetic. It is producing a magnetic field. So when you have a slightly ferromagnetic material such as guitar strings vibrating within that magnetic field, you're producing like a current. An electrical current is being created. And then that electrical current is being sent to the loudspeaker, which is then amped by the preamp, and then, the amplifier is pushing it out as sound, which is really cool if you think about it. Like, it's really amazing that someone figured this stuff out. You know what I mean? Like, it's sometimes when you think about these scientific principles and the way we've used them, it makes me honestly amazed. Like, I'm so amazed that at human beings' ability to create stuff, Like, the fact that some guy sat down in a room and figured this out is amazing to me. If you want a really good in-depth article on how all this stuff works, I recommend checking out Explain That Stuff. I sourced them in my article. They do a really good job of explaining how all this stuff works. And additionally, I mentioned this video. There's also a scientific paper actually where I talk about the ferromagnetism of nickel, and then I also talk about CS's video. I don't know what his name is. I think it's CS. Where is he? It's in this article somewhere. Yeah, CS Guitars. He talks about how piezo pickups work, and it's really interesting. He does a good job. I think he's probably one of the best YouTubers when it comes to that kind of thing because he's really good at explaining things in a way that's kind of entertaining and good. He does it. He's a good guy. He's a cool guy. Cool guy. But anyway, yes, so guitar strings are slightly ferromagnetic. I recommend checking out this article and then, where I talk about everything in detail. But other than that, like the video, look at the other ones, and I'll see you next time.